Hello, happy Saturday. We've come into the gardens to see the girls, and it's quite warm today. It's very pleasant. It's still a bit grey and a bit blustery, but it feels much more like spring.
Welcome to another episode of Toby Stupid Vlog.
So we're here to go on the Royal Mail train. This is Mount Pleasant sorting office, the centre of Royal Mail. We're on Phoenix Place, and we're currently trying to find the entrance. Oh, there it says Mail Rail. It's a good sign. Interestingly, this is open much wider hours than the post office itself. It is very small. The view from inside the mail train. You can see everybody looking at us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mail. If you can please refrain from leaning on the canopy of the doors during this journey, as they are quite sensitive and will stop the train. Thank you.
There was enormous team spirit. We seemed to get ourselves in the news a lot in the 90s. It didn't hurt that Bruce Willis made a film down here called Hudson Hawk.
Let's follow a few of those letters. This is the Colonel. He's writing to the famous poet W.H. Jordan at the GPO Film Unit. This is Kathleen. She's keeping in touch with her sweetheart in the Navy. And this is Mary. Her letter is very special because it's going to a princess.
Good morning. It's Tuesday and it's quite pleasant. It wasn't this morning, but it's about to get much nicer. It's going to be about 17-18 degrees and the sun's coming up, which is excellent because I'm not at work today, and I am at work tomorrow, unfortunately. But today I have been alive for 37 rotations of the sun and 364 rotations of this planet on its own axis. So what I'm getting at is tomorrow's my birthday, but I'm working then. So today I'm going to do all the things I would have done tomorrow if I'd had the day off. First one, have a lie-in, tick. Second one, go for a walk in the sunshine, pending. And third one, get a haircut because this is out of control. I always like to make the point about how dramatic my haircut is because I always leave it so late and I have so much hair beforehand. So here we go. This is before, where there's basically just masses of nonsense going on. And now I have dramatically less hair. Quite a lot less, actually. But it'll grow because I'm incredibly lazy with getting haircuts. So this is buying me time rather than anything else. Right, I need to have lunch, and then apparently this evening I'm going out in Wimbledon, as I've just been informed, so I need to do something about that as well. So I haven't done this in a while. This is what I'm wearing today. It is a 1960s Glasswater Spesimatic, which is an automatic watch from the 1960s from East Germany. It is really, really thick, and it's kind of the shape of a sort of horseshoe crab when you take it off. But it's got a lovely blue dial, and you might be able to see that the hour markers are actually little ramps, which is quite fun. I thought I'd better make reference to the local elections that are happening soon because signs are starting to appear and the media's beginning to talk about it. I feel that there's only one issue on all elections in the United Kingdom at the moment, and that is, where does that party stand on Brexit? Because all other issues are directly affected by Brexit. They are directly affected by the amount of money that is in the economy and the trade and the ability for us to be able to buy goods and get personnel, frankly, to do work. So my only piece of advice to you is, if you are eligible to vote in the local elections coming up, number one, do vote. And number two, if you are concerned that Brexit is an enormous clusterfuck that is going to ruin this country for generations, or even that it's a moderate clusterfuck that's going to ruin this country for only a number of years, then just vote for a party that is opposed to Brexit. And ideally, ask the candidates on your door where they stand on the issue. But I think it's really important that the government is given a good hiding, and frankly that the main opposition party is also given a good spanking for frankly propping up this government on the most destructive issue of the day. But there are still plenty of pro-European parties you can vote for. If you live in Scotland, then you can vote for the SNP, or if you live anywhere in the United Kingdom, bar Northern Ireland, you can vote for the Green Party or the Liberal Democrats. And there's probably local independents as well, or pro-EU. You can vote for them, but I would say give anyone your vote except for red and blue, and obviously purple, who have now gone off a cliff, thankfully. It is also worth noting that there are pro-European Labour candidates, but you have to actively seek them out and check that they are before you vote for them, and there are even pro-European Conservative candidates. But I would urge you to ask them what they are going to do to help reverse the decision. And to clarify, I do think the decision is both reversible and should be reversible, because nobody could possibly have known when they voted what the final deal we will have is, and only the terms of the final deal are enough to allow you to make an informed decision about whether you think this country really should leave the European Union, and it might leave itself to as well, to be honest, or whether it should leave the European Union or whether it should stay. So a couple of weeks ago I filmed 3 of the new dragons. Here is number 4 by Victoria Gate, currently being ridden, as a lot of them are, my children. Actually now surrounded by a mud pit. It's not quite summer today, but it is like 15-16 degrees, and it's pleasant enough when the sun comes out. It can almost kid you. Just going around to see Temperate House, which we are going to the opening of in a couple of weeks. 3 weeks. That's very exciting. All the hoarding has come down on the outside. You can now see all of the new stonework, and they're just finishing the landscaping. Whilst I get there, I thought I'd show off my my gondolier jacket, genuine gondolier jacket from actual Venice, which I got for Christmas, but it's a very thin waterproof and the weather hasn't been right to wear it up to this point. So literally on April the 10th, it's the first day that I've been able to wear it and think, oh yeah, it's good to have a very thin waterproof. It's nice. You can see the stripy hood, and it's got it's the official badge of gondoliers, so I'm basically qualified at this point. But it's very nice. I'm very glad. I almost forgot I had it because it's been so long since I got it and I haven't been able to wear it, so very nice to be able to wear it out. So here it is. You can see they're redoing the banking. There's a sort of sloped grass bank leading up to the Temperate House because it sits on a sort of slight artificial hill, which made it easy for them to dig foundations for it, obviously. And also there is the heating for all of these Victorian glass houses was steam, and it comes from underground, so they have big boilers, and then the water would come up through the ground, and obviously it's much easier to seat all that apparatus only slightly into the ground and lift the whole ground level up. So that's what they did. It looks spectacular, and I can't wait to get in there, really. Speaking of spectacular unveilings, you can now see nearly half of the pagoda You can see the top 5 floors. I think there's 10 if my memory serves. I best go watch my own video on it. I did one on qfacts.co.uk as a video about the pagoda. But anyway, it's slowly unfurling, and you can now see the top and the dragons on each of those tiered roofs. And because in Kew there's never a moment where something isn't being repaired or refurbished, they're now redoing the back of the pavilion restaurant. So yeah, more work going on. I honestly don't know quite what they're doing here. They put lots of fencing up, but it's not immediately clear. Who knows? Maybe new loos or something. They really need to redo the whole building, but that's another issue. So let's go and have a look at this up close. There we go, you can see the gold lightning conductor and the gilded dragons, which are mostly green with some gild as I showed you the other day. And then can we brighten this up a bit? There we go. See the red roof, but the underside of the roofs are painted in a green and white striped fashion. So there you can see the dragons on tiers 10, 9, 8 and 7. The dragon I met up close is one of the ones from level 7. Don't know which one. He knows me, but I don't know him. Here's one of the amazing dragons from the Here Be Dragons exhibition. Look at this beast. Isn't he impressive? It's got a bit of a cheeky grin. So this orange guy down here is the one I showed you first of all a couple of weeks ago. So there's one by Victoria Gate, the guy you've just seen at the bottom of the pagoda, and this orange guy who is painted like the pagoda. That makes 3. There are 6 in total. I know where 4 and 5 are. I've just got to go and find 6. And there's this guy Goldie who was in a cage the other day. He's now been set free. So that's 4. So let's find 5 and 6. These are the new flowering fruit trees that I saw a couple of months ago being laid out. I'm trying to place exactly where I am because everything's sort of changed with the paths being redone. I think this is where the azalea garden used to be. Looking at like the ground and the shapes that it's left, I think that is the case. I don't know that for sure. I'll try and work out, get my bearings a bit more, but it's nice to have all these new fruit blossoms appearing. A little walkway of them down to the path. No, I had lost my way entirely. I wasn't where I thought I was. I came out and I looked at this and I thought, what are they doing here? And then I thought, oh no, this is the new children's playground. I've gone left once too often. So intriguing. Not entirely sure where that is with the fruit trees relative to anything else. It's kind of behind me and to the right. That's all I can say definitively. This is number 5. Here's by Kew Palace. And in a mud pit, like a lot of them. It's also slightly covered in mud. And here's number 6, back by the Great Pond. It's very, very damp here, indeed. I'm surprised he isn't drowning. Look how amazing the parterre looks. These sort of triffid looking plants, they're just very strange looking, but they're beautiful. I mean, it's a lot of colour, even if the sun has now gone again. Right, I'm off to Wimbledon. Evening. I've yet again failed to film on a night out because as yet camera phones are not good enough in bars and pubs. But it was fun. It was a good night out. It wasn't a long one. It was very pleasant and the weather is still warm and it's a nice evening to walk home, and it's a very nice way to spend my birthday eve. Good morning. So I'm currently about 9 hours away from completing my 38th lap of the sun. Yay! If you think about it, birthdays are very strange things to celebrate. Measuring a full number of years as an achievement is particularly odd. and why it's your personal achievement is even stranger if you think about it. You'd understand more if your parents wanted to celebrate, presumably they actually like you. But what you've done to warrant celebration is very hard to explain. Never quite understood it, if I'm honest. As a kid, you don't really question it because, you know, presents. As an adult, you don't tend to celebrate it as much. So maybe it really is just an excuse to give kids presents. I think if you want an excuse for a party, or you want an excuse to celebrate, then maybe things like the arrival of spring, or something that involves accomplishment might actually be more worthy of your time. I don't actually know the history of birthday celebrations, but I'm now going to look it up because it strikes me that it wasn't that long ago that people didn't actually measure time very accurately, and years particularly accurately. And you do hear stories about people over the age of 100 who don't actually know when their birthday exactly was. So a bit of research is required, I think. So a little bit of birthday trivia for you. Did you know that birthdays aren't quite evenly distributed amongst all the days of the year? They are slightly, ever so slightly, clumped around periods that exist exactly 9 months after public holidays. If we do presume that birthdays are evenly distributed, because there isn't much in it, then if you pick any 7 random people, there is a more than 50% chance that 2 of them have a birthday within a week of one another. That's surprising, isn't it? And also, if you pick any room of 70 people, there is a 99.9% chance that 2 of them share a birthday. You only need 70 people to achieve that. That's quite surprising to me. On the history and tradition of birthdays, it turns out that the Romans and the Greeks used to do a big thing for birthdays. And in fact, the Persians used to go completely crazy, and you'd get something like a wholly baked cow or camel or donkey as part of the feast on your birthday. That sounds excellent. Traditionally, Christianity and Islam have shunned the idea of celebrating your birthday. But in the Christian faith, and continuing in the eastern part of Europe, you more traditionally celebrate the Saint's Day that shares its name with you. So there we go, some birthday facts for the day. This is where we've just been for dinner for my birthday. This is Rick Stein's place in Barnes. You can't see a lot because it's very dark, but it's also very tasty. I had to wrestle 2 crabs and I won. Good morning. So I should probably elaborate a bit on last night's meal because it was a bit dark and it was very brief, but the meal wasn't because, as I mentioned, I had to eat 2 spider crabs. I didn't have to, I chose to. It's quite a remarkable thing to eat a spider crab. Their legs are ridiculous. Let me put a photo in because I don't think you can fully understand how absurd this meal is. So as I mentioned, that was at Rick Stein's restaurant in Barnes, which is a fantastic restaurant, and the menu choices were quite remarkable. I picked spider crab because it's not something you see very often, and it said that it's very messy to eat and you have to like eating with your hands, which 2 things I greatly enjoy. So yeah, it takes a while to eat a spider crab though, and especially 2 of them. Delicious is how I'd describe it, but you really want dessert afterwards because you feel like you've put a lot of energy into eating the main meal. Fantastic place to go though if you're ever in the area. And I'm also assured by my friend and colleague Wanderlust Chloe that Rick Stein's restaurant in Cornwall is equally exceptional. So if you get a chance and you like seafood, you should go. Even if you don't like seafood, there are things on the menu that you would like, you know, steak and chicken and things. There's even vegetarian options, obviously, but yeah, the food's fantastic. The portion sizes are massive, and the wine list was actually exceptional. We ended up having a dry version of a Hungarian Tokai, which you might know is a very famous sweet wine. You might not, but now you do. The dry version was excellent as well. So all in all, a very nice birthday meal. But now it is Thursday, and I'm on my way to webvid, pick up kit, and then I've got to go to Leicester Square to film this week's LSQ60. Last week, you might remember, we were on the roof of the Indigo Hotel. This week we're at what you probably know as the Empire Cinema, now Cineworld. It's time for Word of the Week, and I'm running out of ideas, so we're going to do Blossom. Blossom. So first of all, in German, Blossom is Die Blüte. Die Blüte. That is blossom in German. And in Italian, it is Il Fiore. Il Fiore. So that was Blossom in Italian, and that was this week's Word of the Week. Hello, happy Friday. We're in the Science Museum. Here is some space things, model rockets, model planets, model moon landers. These are all the coaxial watches owned by George Daniels. These coaxial escapement, which is still a very, very clever piece of technology, but only really exists in ownable watches like that one on the right. Then there in the middle is one he made for Patek, and then this one here is one he co-made with Roger Smith, who still makes watches at about 8 a year. Some amazing watches here, like this one that it's signed by ASNF Mysterious. It's called the Mystery Watch because nobody knows who made it. And then there's a few watches by Ingersoll, who's the guy who invented sort of anti-shock system in watches. And then these Smiths, which used to make a lot of English watches. And that is H5 by John Harrison, who I was telling you about the other day when Google had them celebrated on his date of birth. There he is, modelling it. Very impressive watch, 1770, and unbelievably accurate.